What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we're going to talk about a little bit of college ball, or a lot of college ball, and a little bit of NFL. Basically just recapping week 2 for college. You got this game, which is about to be over. Southern Miss over Florida State, 66-10, which is basically expected. Florida State's ranked number 4 right now against Southern Miss. That's to be expected. Oregon State versus UC Davis. I've never heard of UC Davis, so this is not also surprising. 55-0. This game was over literally at the first quarter. It was 21-0. I mean, it's USC versus Stanford. This is another good USC game. If USC can continue to pile on good games like this, especially in the Pac-12, it builds a lot of confidence in that defense. And builds a lot of confidence in me saying, okay, maybe they can do something. Maybe that week 0 game was just a week 0 game. It happens. It's 0 week. It's early on. Another Georgia game where they do really well against Ball State. This is kind of expected. Georgia, keep rolling on, keep doing what you're doing. Number 1 team in the nation, keep proving why. Ohio State, same thing basically with Georgia. You're number 5, keep doing what you're doing, keep scoring a lot of points. Great game. 7-35. That's pretty good. Penn State's on the move a little bit. I don't want to say they're on the move because they beat a team and they scored a lot of points. No, they beat a bad team well, and that's expected for how high you're ranked. That's good. You're on the move. You're doing well. NC State, who's not terrible. This is what you expect from This is what you expect from a top 10 team. But Notre Dame to be this high, I think is really impressive. There's a chance Notre Dame could do something this year. And I'm not saying they're gonna go to the playoffs and win it all, but I'm saying they could be a really good team this year. I don't know what the schedule looks like. I'll have to see, but it'd be interesting to see. Utah was on upset alert early on in this game, or not early on, but third quarter in this game. There was a chance that Utah was going to lose, but Utah was going to lose, and Baylor was going to come up the upset, but they sneak one out, 20-13 in the fourth quarter. Kansas State versus Troy, like I said before with the other games, this is expected. Top 15 team playing against an unranked team, you expect to score a lot of points to win by a good margin. Nebraska versus Colorado. Colorado's on the move. Colorado's kind of like Notre Dame, but not as we didn't expect them to be this good this early. So it's nice to see. It's really cool to see. It's going to be interesting. How far will this go? How far will this Colorado train go? Because they're starting to gain hype. Maybe if they do lose a game, maybe they can still sneak into the playoffs. If they do, who knows? I'm curious to see how well this Deion Sanders team is going to play. Charleston Southern versus Clemson. Clemson needed this game. After last week, Clemson needed a bounce back win when they got upset by Duke. We'll get to Duke in a minute, but after they got upset by Duke, this was pretty good for them. 66-17. It rebuilds that confidence, saying, okay, we can do what we need to do. It's that bounce back game that you need to okay, it was just a fluke. We're going to be good old Clemson. Michigan versus UNLV. Like I said with Ohio State, like I said with Georgia, this is expected. This is what you expect to happen. You expect them to do what they do. Tulane versus Ole Miss. This game was a little wild. At half, I thought Tulane could have snuck away with it, but coming out in the second half, Ole Miss does what they do best, and they prove why they're an SEC team. They prove why they're ranked 20 and finish it off. One of our first upsets that we're going to cover this week, Miami versus Texas A&M. Oh, Texas A&M. I believe they went 5 and I can pull that up right now, actually. Texas A&M. If we go to schedule, I believe. Is it this one? Where can I pull up? They're not first in the SEC West. I can look it up online. Actually, I'll do that real quickly. To give you an idea of, basically, yeah, Texas A&M went 5-7 last year. So for them to go and lose to Miami, that doesn't look good. You know, Miami's quarterback threw 5 touchdowns. That's not good. You know, you're an SEC team. You're ranked top 25. You're a top 25 team, and you go and lose to Miami. That's not good, especially since you went 5-7 last year. You're supposed to be turning things around. That's needless to say, it could be just be a 1 game thing, but with Texas A&M, it just sucks because they have all the talent in the world. I mean, you see their recruiting classes year after year after year, but for some reason, some transfer. They don't play as well. They don't like players. Don't want to play for them. I feel like Texas A&M have hit a hump, and they just can't get over it. They have the team. They just don't play to the standard they need to play to. And if they would, I think they'd be a really good team. Washington versus Tulsa. Great game by Washington. Again, like I said with the other teams, you're ranked 8. Keep proving why you're ranked 8. Austin Perry versus Tennessee. I have no idea what that team is. Can't say I follow Austin Perry, but Tennessee doing Tennessee. North Carolina getting out a close one against Appalachian State. I believe last year was close too against Appalachian State. But close game, almost an upset. But they did what they needed to do, and they came home with the win. And that's what I guess matters the most at the end of the day. Just keep staying undefeated. Oklahoma, number 18 against SMU. Another closer one that really didn't see coming. You know, Oklahoma really does need to have a good season. We'll get to Texas. Texas is another team we'll talk about because both of those two teams are moving to the SEC next year, in 2024. So Oklahoma needs to have a good season to bring in recruits to help compete in that division, that conference, because that conference is brutal. It's a brutal conference to go through. So they're going to need the wins. They're going to need the recruits. Ranked 18th definitely does help. It's going to help more and more. Just keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. It's a little close for my liking against SMU, but it's fine. You know, just pull out the wins, and I think you'll be fine. Number 21, Duke. I did not expect Duke to be this good, and it is Lafayette. I mean, let's be honest. But still, to put up 42 points, that's impressive. Duke, I did not see Duke coming. You know, Duke could be a team who could, I won't say they're going to shock the world, but they could be a team to have a good amount of wins this year and kind of be like, oh, okay, maybe they're not just a basketball team. Texas, like I said with Oklahoma, more with Texas. Look, you have the culture. It doesn't, not like Oklahoma doesn't. But you're Texas. You know, you have the fan base, you have the money, you have everything. You're about to go on the big stage next year. And how do you prove that you can do it? You go beat number 3 Alabama. Now, then again, it is a Alabama team who has a young, inexperienced QB. But it's still Alabama. It's still Nick Saban's team. So I believe it was, they played Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So good stuff to Texas. That's really big momentum going in. You might be ranked top. I don't know if they'll be ranked top 4, but they'll definitely be ranked top 8, I think. You know, that's big for Texas because you're going to bring in a lot of recruits. You're bringing a lot of recruits, especially going to the SEC. It's really big for y'all. That's good for y'all. I think that's really good momentum. Keep it up. Keep doing what y'all doing. Oregon versus Texas Tech. This is another game that was close to an upset. 38-30. Like with the other game I mentioned before, they pull it out in the fourth quarter. You know, you got to be careful, Oregon. Bo Nix 2 touchdowns for almost 360. That's good. You gotta play better ball. You gotta play a full complete game. So once you start playing these tougher teams, if you really want to make the playoffs, make a good push. Because Oregon, look, I can't remember the last time Oregon was in the playoffs. They have the facilities, and they bring in players that aren't bad. So I feel like Oregon just needs to do it, and when they do it, that they'll be put on more of the map. They'll get more high caliber talent, and with their facilities, I feel like they could really do something. I just haven't seen them do something in a while. Last year they weren't bad. Moving on to LSU, like Clemson, this was a game where LSU lost. They lost pretty bad. I'll be honest. Maybe you could say it's week one. Oh well, it's the first week. Stuff happens, but you need this win, especially against an FCS school. 72-10. You need this win to build back your moxie. Say, hey, we can still do what we need to do. And then our next upset is Washington State versus Wisconsin. 31-22, Wisconsin, they're not going to be a top 25 team anymore. Washington State will probably be a top 25 team now. They're 2-0. There's the end of that game, the Oregon State game. But they're 2-0. You be a top 25 team by, 9 points? It's pretty good. So they're making some moves. They're moving on. It's good to see. Now moving on to some NFL coverage. There's only one game that was played. It was played Thursday, and we saw the Lions upset the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm gonna be honest. There was sloppy ball on both sides, but the less sloppy team won, and the Lions. They played more. How should I put this? They played, I guess, better ball because both teams are very talented. I think the Chiefs are more talented. Just because they have such athletic receivers, but those receivers did not play well. I'm gonna be honest. There were a lot of balls dropped this game, and if the Chiefs catch those balls, they win pretty handsomely, I believe. But they didn't, and that's not what happened. So you can do if so, but whatever you want to call it. They didn't play to their standard. I know Travis was out, but you gotta play with what you don't have. So that was my first game I got wrong. Hope you do. But the Lions won 21, I believe 20. That's good momentum for the Lions. That really is. Because you had good momentum exiting the season. So to see you carry that through to the next season is really good. You beat the national championship. Or not the national champ, the world best football team or whatever you want to call it. Week one. So moving on to week two, you have momentum, you have film to watch to get better. And it's good though. Y'all played Thursday night, which usually is no one wants to play Thursday night. It's short week. You gotta go. You gotta go in Arrowhead. That's tough. But to come out with a win and then since you played week one, you're not previously banged up, and you get more time to recover and go into week two more prepared for their next matchup, whoever that is. So I think that's really good for the Lions. This is really good momentum for the Lions, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do this season. With that game, you could now make the point that the Lions could win the NFC North. Now going into some NFL news, Mike Evans didn't get an extension. That's interesting because Mike Evans, usually you're like, okay, guys don't get an extensions with. I don't want to say typically okay, the Bucs are projected not to be well this year. I believe majority of the NFL community and the football community believe the Bucs will probably be one of the worst teams in the NFC South, or the worst team in the NFC South. I haven't seen a lot of people go on and say the Bucs are going to be the best, but to not extend your receiver who is consistently going over 1,000 yards, I believe every single year in his contract that he's played for y'all, it kind of tells a story from me, perspective wise. Is one, if you Don't do well, you're probably going to ship him off for some capital, and then see how far that can help you rebuild or how quickly that can help you rebuild. Two, you're planning to move on from Mike Evans if you do well. Maybe you come back to it, maybe you don't, but it doesn't tell me you want Mike Evans for the future. Maybe you want to get younger team. I get it. You're starting to get older and older as the seasons go on. Tom Brady isn't there. You know, that might be a little bit of a bigger cap hit for y'all going on to next year, because Mike Evans would probably ask for a decent amount, I assume. He's a good player and deserves it. But I would expect Mike Evans to be on a different team next year. I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong, but I expect Mike Evans to be on another team next year, to say the least. Moving on to our next topic. Harold Landry signs a 5-year contract worth $87.5 million. I mean, look, he's your premier pass rusher in that D-line. That D-line's really good. You know, they can stop the run really well up the middle. And then to have Harold Landry, who is, I believe they have him as an outside linebacker. Yeah, outside linebacker. I know he tore his ACL. He's questionable for Sunday, but he's that guy. When he's on the field, when he can rush the passer and you know it's a passing down, then you're forced to pass them, he can get after it. That's one of the things that makes the Titans defense so good. And you need him on that team to win. I think that Titans organization knows we need Harold Landry on that line, because that defensive line, that defense is going to help pick up for our offense, or lack of. Now you do bring in, his name's slipping my mind, DeAndre Hopkins. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays with Ryan Tannehill. I know there's this big aura or name going around that the Titans are and justifiably so, that the Titans are the place where receivers go to die, because receivers don't typically do well. I think part of that reason is because they love to run the ball so well. That is their motto. They bring in another running back, Tajay Spears. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But they could. I have seen a couple people on YouTube say that they could be a sneaky team to win the AFC South, to kind of one up the Jaguars. They are the underdog. I'll admit that firsthand. But you know, it is nice to have somebody. It is nice to have a really good D line to go against that Jaguars team, and to keep that defense. And then moving on to our next topic: injuries. A lot of players are getting injured. Kendra Miller, you know, 3rd round rookie for the Saints, was injured last year during college, and now is, I guess, re-injured. He injured his hamstring. He is expected to miss week 1. This isn't really big. I mean, it's a 3rd running back, but considering Kamara's out, you know, it doesn't look good. You know, you have Jamal Williams, and then who do you have behind Jamal Williams? You don't have that 1-2 punch that a lot of people are looking forward to seeing in the New Orleans Saints offense, paired along with that high potential receiving core. I'll say that. Cooper Kupp placed on IR. I'll be honest, I think in the Rams team, you need that offense to stay healthy, that team to stay healthy, because you don't have the talent. You might have. So I believe it was last year, the year before, they were more top heavy. They didn't have a lot of depth behind them. And so they fixed that problem, but now they're bottom heavy, I guess, if you want to say that. They don't have a lot of talent on that team, is what I'm saying. But they have a lot of depth that can be developed and be better and be really good depth. You know, maybe they are good this year, but it's hard to say, just because a lot of them are rookies. A lot of them are young. I think they average like 1.8 years of experience on that entire team. That's like the fewest. That is the fewest in the NFL. So that is something. Cooper Cup not being there, that's going to hurt them. Cooper Cup and that Matthew Stafford connection, it's really good. It's going to be interesting to see how they play. But I definitely do think in the next couple of years, the Rams will be back on the rise again, like how they were when Jared Goff was there and they went to the Super Bowl and lost. How they were a couple years ago when they did win the Super Bowl. It's just that reshuffle. You go on, you do what you gotta do, and then you reshuffle, and then you build that team back up and do what you could do again. And that is what I believe they're trying to do. Another injury, Matt Corral. I feel like it's big for the Panthers or the Patriots. I mean, why I say Panthers, Patriots. Matt Corral is a guy who has potential. He's young. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays. It's just look that Patriots QB room is going to be interesting to say at least for the next couple of years. And then I believe there's one. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Look, I'm gonna be honest. Like it says, like the by Schefter, the post by Schefter, we'll revisit talks after season. I think it's just like, hey, we didn't get a deal done it's not nothing to worry about for the Vikings. Hey, we didn't get a deal done. It's all right. Let's focus on the season, and then after that, we'll go over and talk about it when we have more time, when we're focused on something else. Because look, the Vikings are trying to compete. They're trying to do what they got to do. They're trying to. They look in their perspective. Probably in their perspective, they believe they could, realistically win the NFC North. That's fair. And our last topic, Pro Bowl tight end Mark Andrews, unlikely to play versus Texans week 1. Look, I don't think the Texans are a good team, but without Mark Andrews, as long as that offense isn't so heavily run through Lamar, run with the running back, triple option, I think they'll be fine. I think if they run a typical NFL offense, they'll do extraordinarily well with Lamar at quarterback. Will it be close? Possible. I mean, the Texans do put up fights. As a fighting culture, they like to fight. They like to give it all they got, especially with their new head coach. I could see that, but I do think that offense will do well. That's it for today. I know it was kind of a little bit weirder because we're more in the season. We're more moving into the season. Information's kind of dry. College football's kind of covering that up. Once after Monday, we'll really be on a groove. We'll really be grooving together because then we can start talking about college and NFL, college news, NFL news, and it'll really be flowing. I'll create lots of better, more informational, compact videos. I'm just trying to give you what I can give you right now, just covering stuff it's a little bit dry for college just because it's just the games and stuff. But once we get into like I said, once we get into the NFL, it will be more compounded. It'll be more nicely knit together. It's just trying to create videos right now and just getting them out to you. I guess I should say. I want to give you more exhilarating news and stuff, but it's so hard when this channel is designed to cover both topics, and I'm only mainly covering one topic right now. So, by Monday, I won't say by Monday, but hopefully after Monday, definitely Wednesday, I'll come up with a video. Maybe hopefully Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll have 2 videos. One for Tuesday, one for Wednesday. Tuesday we'll cover NFL news. We'll go over the season or the week overview, news that happened, anybody who got injured, anything that happened. And then Wednesday I'll make my prediction video for that week. And that's going to be the idea. And then Saturday Saturdays, Sundays, those days, depending on how games go, I'll upload like today. I'll upload a video covering college, so that way you can get maybe 3 videos a day, probably 3 videos a day. I have 3 videos a day. My bad. 3 videos a week, maybe 4 if something big happens. Like I'm talking like trade deadline, like lots of trades are happening. Hey, I'll throw in a video right after the trade deadline and be like, okay, we got to cover everything. Like this video, it's going to be separate on its own, and I'll create more videos. Maybe something like that, or for like multiple trades happening in a week, or something like that. But I'll typically my goal for this first season that I'm covering for college and NFL is to pump out 3 videos a week. That's the goal. I don't know when I'll get those videos up, but that's the idea. But thanks for watching. Tell me what you want me to talk about next. If you want me to do a film session on a team or a quarterback or a defense or whatever, tell me, leave me in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to the truth. And I'll see y'all guys next video.